Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
All right, we are back at the Circa Las Vegas, and very excited to talk with some college football, some NFL, and we have some great guests for you because Mike Palm is coming on, the vice president of Circa Sports. And we have Shawn Kanaki, our own Shawn Kanaki, going to do some talk about NFL divisions and anything he wants to talk about. But first, I'm going to run down and hang out with Vegas Matty. Hopefully I can run into some of you guys and talk to you about signing up for the contest. We also have some swag that we're giving away, so stop by our desk. It's only going to be around for another hour or two if you're local in Vegas. But you could also just hit me up later on Twitter. If you're here, I'll get you a shirt, get you a lighter, bumper sticker, whatever you want, hat, and get you guys rolling. So that'd be wonderful. So, Shawn, you did a lot of work on NFL divisions. So I'm going to let you break it down for a little while I go down and give us your best plays or just some of your plays, or if you're saving some for premium, that's cool. But I'm excited to get back with Vegas Matty and Mike Palm when we're done. So Shawn, take over, please.
Yeah, everything I'm going to talk about is free on the website. You can check out the full in-depth articles, but I'm going to break down every division real quick here, rapid fire. And we're going to chat and talk about where we're at on each NFL division. So again, all these articles in their full are available on the website at theoddsbreakers.com. You can check them out there, but these are all the plays that I've given out. If you look at my futures betting on the Odds Breakers, I had a very successful couple of years in both baseball and football. Baseball right now, we are for sure 3-0 on our preseason previews with what we got done there. We got a couple more that are in limbo yet, but I'm hoping to run off a 5-1 in that baseball futures. And last year we did very well in the NFL as well. And we also picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl in our futures articles a few years back. And we're able to hit that and get a real nice payday on that one for a bunch of our listeners and also for myself. So let's kind of jump on here and start talking divisions. If you follow along, I kind of start off with each conference and then kind of go back from there. But let's start talking with the NFC West right away. Obviously, the class of the division is going to be the 49ers, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. They've just got too much talent. They've got great coaching. Obviously, Sean McVay and the Rams is solid as well, but Mr. Shanahan certainly knows what he's talking about and what he's doing as they continue to cruise and get things done. And they really should have won the Super Bowl last year, and I think they're going to have a real good shot to get back there again this season. Obviously Brock Purdy hasn't quite proven himself in big games yet. He got him to the Super Bowl, but I don't think he's fully developed yet. I think he's going to get better as we continue to see things go along. The Brandon Ayuk situation is going to, potentially shake some things up, but I do like the fact that they used a first-round pick on Ricky Pearsall. It gives them another top-tier talent in case they do make the move here. So I do think there's going to be some options for them to really continue to increase the production on offense. On defense, they got rid of their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilkes, right away. They allowed the third fewest points in the NFL, but it was still a step back from where they were in 2022 with the top unit. They promoted Nick Sorensen from within. So they've got that change up that might shake things up on the defense a little bit, but I think the talent level is still high enough on the defense in order for them to certainly repeat in the division. I would expect them to go 5-1 or 4-2 at worst in this division. They should get Dre Greenlaw back from a Super Bowl Achilles injury. That's going to play a big deal for them as well. If they can get him back right away, I think that will certainly only help what they're going to be able to do. So division overall better with the Cardinals. I'll touch on them in a minute, but I think the 49ers should still glide to their third straight NFC West title. Last year with the Rams, I was one of the few people in the industry that thought they were going to really go by that 6.5 win total with ease. Obviously, Cooper Kupp being injured really hurt early on, but Puka Nacua coming around and showing that he's got stuff gives them another option. So now with both of them healthy, they're going to be off and running again with the offense. Kyron Williams, breakout campaign, certainly behind an improved offensive line this season as they add photo guard Jonah Jackson to the mix. I think they will be solid on offense. Defensively, obviously, the big loss is Aaron Donald going into retirement. It's a big locker room figure, also a big body, hard to hard to change stuff up as much as he was double teamed inside, freeing up other players. But they did invest in that defensive line right away in the pass rush. They got both guys from Florida State, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. They're going to bolster that line right away. Kobe Turner was a breakout player next to Aaron Donald on the interior of that line last year. I certainly think he's going to be able to produce again, but he may see a few more of those double teams that Aaron Donald got in the past. So we'll see how that shakes out. I think their secondary took a big hit, losing captain Jordan Fuller, and also losing their defensive coordinator on this side of the ball with Raheem Morris headed out. So I think the defense is going to take a step back. The win total is at 8.5. I'm not touching this one this year, but I think there's certainly a way the Rams can sneak into the playoffs again as well. Seattle Seahawks, a lot of love going out to the Seahawks, and Mike McDonald potentially for Coach of the Year. He's certainly one of the guys getting a lot of mentions, is potentially turning this team around. I'm not of that mind. I think Pete Carroll was a great coach, and I think him being able to do what he did with the talent in Seattle the last couple of years was pretty amazing. They do have a great receiving core, obviously, on the offensive side with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith. They're good, Najigba. I can't pronounce that one. I'm sorry. They do have a solid running back duo as well with Zach Charbonneau and Kenneth Walker. They have a healthier offensive line, hopefully from what they had last year. Abraham Lucas missed 11 games for him last year. They also had Charles Cross missing some time, so I think the line's going to be a little bit better off if they can stay healthy. Christian Haynes, third rounder, is going to be their starter at right guard, it looks like. So they might have a little bit of a learning curve there with him. But overall, I think this offense should continue to produce at a decent level. The issue last year, and the reason Pete Carroll's gone, is the defense was a mess. They were 30th in EPA. They should still be much better than that. Getting Jonathan Hankins in free agency on the line is good. They also drafted Brian Murphy in the first round. So I think they're going to be more solid along the line. Linebackers, decent unit with Derrick Taylor and Bay Mafe. They should have one of the best pass rushing units in the league this year, I do believe. In the secondary, you got Devin Witherspoon, who was the best pick in the draft a couple of years back, I think, and Julian Love. So hopefully defense is a little bit better, but they do lose leading tackler and all-pro Bobby Wagner. So we'll see what shakes out of that defense. If the defense produces anything decent, we will see the Seattle Seahawks certainly make the people picking Mike McDonald as the Coach of the Year candidate look like geniuses. Arizona Cardinals should be better this year. Healthy Kyler Murray would make a big difference here. They got him some help right away, drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, obviously elite tight end option there. So he's got options to throw to. James Conner and the Cards were fourth in the NFL in rushing. Obviously, Kyler Murray, when he was healthy, helped those stats a little bit too. And they upgraded the offensive line, adding Jonah Williams at tackle from the Bengals. So the defense is the major issue concern. They were 34st in points allowed. They spent most of the money in the offseason to upgrade it. So their Vegas win projection is 6.5. So again, we're going to fly through here. I don't have any action on the NFC West. I think the plays I lean over on both the Cardinals and the Rams. Those totals I think could possibly hit, but I'm not making any official plays on the NFC West. In the NFC North, Detroit Lions are going to be your class here. I think the Packers are going to give them a run for their money, and it should be a closely contested division. But they're still ahead of the Bears, even though they came ahead and got Caleb Williams, and everybody it seems to be on the Bears bandwagon jumping on. I actually had the Bears under 7.5 last year. I haven't played anything on them yet this year, but the Lions defense was much improved last year. Obviously the offense with Jared Goff, two-headed monster at Gibbs and Montgomery at running back, and the big main targets, Amon St. Brown and Sam Laporta. They did lose Josh Reynolds. I don't think he was the biggest part of the offense, so I think he'll be replaceable. On the offensive line, added Pro Bowl guard Kevin Zeitler as a senior player out there. So they're going to be better on the offensive side. I think it's as hard as that is to imagine. They will get even better on offense. Defense was much improved. The secondary is the big area of concern, where they were 31st in passing yards given up and 25th in defensive EPA. They got Carlton Davis as their top cover man, used 2 top-tier picks on corners as well. Big plays killed the Detroit defense last year. They gave up 69 pass plays of 20 or more yards. So they're going to need to figure that out, and then hopefully they won't have to win every game in a shootout. But I still think they got the best option to win. I think the Packers are improved. Jordan Love obviously looks like something clicked in the second half of last season. As long as he repeats that, he's going to be an elite pass thrower in the league for a long time. David Bakhtiari's going off the line, but he really hasn't played for quite a while. They also moved on from John Runyon. So the offensive line's got a question mark on it. I think that'll be a downgrade for 2024. They also swapped out Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs, which I think is a downgrade at running back. Jacobs seems to obviously be real great in the running game, but Jones was an elite pass catcher as well. So we'll see. The group of wide receivers is young. There's nobody that really jumps off the page, but Jordan Love seems to have rapport with every one of them, which goes over really well. Issues for the Packers, much like the Lions, are on the defensive side of the ball. And they bring in Jeff Hafley as a defensive coordinator coming over from college in Boston College. And they're switching the scheme from a 3-4 to a 4-3, where Kenny Clark was the cog in that middle. I'm not crazy about this. I think Green Bay's 3-4 last year was solid. They just didn't seem to be able to get as much help on the back end. Rashawn Gary should be great off the edge. They need to take Devontae Wyatt or Luke Van Ness and get one of those guys straightened out a little bit, get a little bit more pressure out of one of them. The secondary, they got some questions. They signed Xavier McKinney at safety. Jair Alexander hasn't been great as hoped in the last couple of years. He's still an elite corner, but he certainly has some locker room problems, and he certainly has gotten burned on the field a couple times too. So we'll see the questions in the secondary there with 3 safeties that they drafted. We'll see what shakes out there. I still think the Lions are going to be a step ahead of them. All the Bears fans loving out there, sorry, I don't think it's going to be their year quite yet. Caleb Williams is going to be the real deal. If you watch him out on the field, the way he carries himself, the way he can make the throws, I think he's going to be an elite NFL quarterback. I think they finally got the quarterback right in Chicago. Just might take a year to figure things out. They got DJ Moore. They brought in Keenan Allen. They drafted Rome Odunze in the first round, who was the nation leader in receiving yards last year at Washington. DeAndre Swift upgrades the running back spot. Still got Cole Kmet at tight end. They're going to certainly score more points than they have the last, 2 decades. But we'll see where they get the sack totals that they gave up last year with Justin Fields, maybe because he was holding the ball too long. We'll see. But the offensive line did certainly allow a lot of pressure. On defense, Montez Sweat coming over midseason was the huge improvement there. We'll see where they shake out. I love the elite core of linebackers with TJ and Tremaine Edwards out there. Jalen Johnson champions the secondary, which is improved but still below average. They added a couple safeties, including Jonathan Owens from the Packers. If you know Simone Biles, obviously from the Olympics, she was wearing a Packers jacket at the preseason game in Chicago the other week. That went over real well. But I love Caleb Williams. I think they'll get there. The Vegas win projection this year is up to 8.5 and a juice to the over. So good things coming in Chicago, but I don't think we're quite there yet. Vikings are going to be a dumpster fire. I think J.J. McCarthy going down is going to hurt them even more. Sam Darnold has proven that he's not the answer. This team's probably going to start off 1-6 or 1-7. This team was 3-6 last year without Kirk Cousins. I don't see that improving. Getting Aaron Jones on the offense might help a little bit, but Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson are going to create matchup issues all over the field. It's just going to be up to Darnold to try and figure out a way to get him the ball, and I just don't have faith that he's going to do that. On defense, they lose Danielle Hunter and DJ Wanham on the line on the edges, which is going to hurt. They took a lineman in the first-round pick with Dallas Turner. So we'll see what happens on the defensive line. I'm not expecting a lot of things. The interior of that line is absolutely a mess. They're going to get bulldozed by teams that can run the ball downhill. Blake Cashman, I like, is a good signing. Secondary, Shaquille Griffin's past his prime. He'll start at one corner, and then who knows on the other side. So Brian Flores did pretty good with this unit to keep them in games, but he just doesn't have the talent. Lost more even this year. It's going to take a miracle for them to get to the playoffs. I truly believe that it's going to be a huge rebuilding year. So look for them to go under their under their projection of 6.5 wins. I got it before the injury to McCarthy at plus 145. It's certainly not going to be that good coming in now. I'm going to look it up for you quick as I move on into the next division here for you. But we'll pull that up real quick. And where is Minnesota on here currently after the injury? Minnesota is down to plus 115 at the under on 6.5. I still like that. Not as much as I did when I got the 145, but certainly looking good there. Moving quickly on to the NFC South. Going to be back with a guest in about 10 minutes. We might not get to the AFC, and that's okay. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons should be the team to look for. Desmond Ridder obviously wasn't the answer. They brought in Kirk Cousins. Still solid at running back with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Drake London's going to be joined by Darnell Mooney, which gives them a little bit more weapons. They got all 5 starters back on the offensive line. Pass protection was a bit of an issue as they gave up 2.4 sacks per game, even with the limited pass attempts that they had. So that's going to be their big issue on offense. Defense was sturdy, really good against the run. They'll switch to a 3-4 scheme. which I think will be fairly good for him. The linebacking core is extremely athletic. They get Trey Anderson back from injury. So they should be solid up in front seven, stopping the run. The secondary is a little bit of a work in progress. I do believe that one or two spots are solidified with A.J. Terrell at one of the corner spots, Jesse Bates at safety. And then kind of we'll see on that. But they've got the easiest schedule in the league now for the second year in a row, which is absolutely amazing. Kirk Cousins should get them a few more games. That win projection's up at 9.5, and I still think they are the favorite to win that division. New Orleans, I've had these guys live to win the division each of the last 2 years, and they haven't been able to get it done for me. So not playing them this year, no matter what shakes out. Big changes are afoot on offense. Pete Carmichael was let go. Glenn Kubiak comes in. Kyle Shanahan was Kyle Shanahan's passing coordinator in San Francisco, so I think there's going to be some good things happening with Derek Carr and the group down there. They didn't have any rushes of more than 20 yards on this offense last year outside of Taysom Hill's designed running attacks. So they need to figure out something with the running game, get some things going on the ground to take some pressure off Derek Carr and the throwers. Michael Thomas is obviously an elite wide receiver, but he is gone or was an elite wide receiver before all of his injuries. He's got everything else with him coming back. Chris Olave is the current elite wide receiver. He's going to be a franchise guy. The biggest fix, much like Atlanta, they need to figure out the offensive line. Derek Carr got knocked out of 3 different games because they couldn't keep him upright, couldn't open the holes in the running game. They took a tackle, Talise Fuaga, with the 14th overall pick. They added Lucas Patrick in free agency, so the line should be better, but this is still going to be a problem for them. So offensive line theme here, again, in the NFC South is the issues, much like the NFC North. Their defense went backward in both rushing and passing categories in 2023. They were in bottom 5 on the league in attacks, pressures, and sacks. Chase Young is an addition, but he has certainly never lived up to expectations. Demario Davis and the linebacking crew is fairly underwhelming in the secondary, which is the strength of the group. I love the Kool-Aid McKinstry in the second round. I think he is actually a guy that should have gone in the first round. They're certainly not going to be a ton better as an overall unit. Age and injury is a concern. They got 3 starters over 30 now on the defense, so we will have to wait and see what shakes out there. I think the Saints have been second best in the division. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, the division winners from last year. 3rd straight division crown for the Buccaneers. Even though Tom Brady, Baker can do it. He's shown that he is a gamer. He certainly didn't live up to expectations earlier in his career, but I think he's playing at a level that makes him a top 15 starter in the NFL for sure. Maybe top 10, probably top 15 though. They need to get their rushing attack going in Tampa as well. They were 27th in EPA on the ground. I like Rachaad White. He's a solid back. He led the league in offensive snaps. They got to get him some help. All the playmakers are back with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Kate Otten. So we'll see on the offense. I don't think there's going to be much change there. The defense was really good against the run with Levante David at at linebacker. And they got nose tackle Vita Villa. So both of those players were solid, leading them against the run. Secondary, you got Antoine Winfield Jr., Jordan Whitehead, they got in free agency. Corners were an issue all over in 2023. I think they lost some depth and skill from those positions as well. So the corners are going to be the issues for Tampa Bay. I just think with them having to play the first place schedule, they're going to be a little behind both the Falcons and the Saints. The Carolina Panthers, what do you say? Well, you say Bryce Young wasn't the right one to take first overall. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and 62 sacks on the season. For Mr. Young, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. Deontay Johnson is that number 1 option with the receiving core. We'll see. Jonathan Mingo, Adam Thielen. I just don't think those guys are the answer for Young either. They made a big splash at guard, signing Robert Hunt to a $100 million deal, so hopefully gets a little bit better protection. But 62 sacks is not good for a young quarterback, and they certainly aren't going to improve a ton this year. Defense, they traded away their best player, Brian Burns, to the Giants for almost no return. They got free agents Jadeveon Clowney and DJ Wanham, which should help on the line a little bit. Shaq Thomas comes back from a knee injury. I think the defense is going to be better, and we'll see. But losing Burns, they lost Luvo. It's a unit. You know, Frankie Luvo is a very versatile linebacker, but they should still be better than last year. I don't see how they're going to be worse. 26th in EPA and defense. Interesting stat on the Panthers. They never took a snap with a lead in the fourth quarter. They won both of their games on the last play on field goals. So we'll see if that changes at all in 2024. Never take a snap with a lead in the fourth quarter an entire NFL season. That's almost unheard of. With that division, as far as plays go, I'm taking the Saints over 7.5. They get the NFC West, or excuse me, the NFC East and the AFC West as their opponent divisions. They should get 3 and 4 wins there, 3 or 4 wins out of those groupings. The second place schedule isn't easy. They host the Browns and the Rams, and they're at Green Bay, and they probably will need to win, I'm guessing, 3 division games to hit that 8-win plateau, and I think they can get that done. They beat Carolina twice, sneak 1 off of Tampa, 1 off Atlanta. They go 4-2 in the division. They should get to that 8-win mark. It's kind of where I'm thinking. So I took the Saints over 7.5 in the NFC South. Moving on to the NFC East. Give you the breakdown here. I am still on the Cowboys. The first place schedule is tough, but I think Mike McCarthy is a great regular season coach. Obviously, he does a ton with talent. His scheme on offense, working with the group, has always evolved and gotten better over the years. He certainly incorporates new things every year. Don't like the change at running back. Tony Pollard going out, bringing back Zeke, who certainly wasn't productive in New England last season. CeeDee Lamb, we'll see what happens with that situation. That could change my outlook on this real quick if he isn't going to be suiting up. I like Brandon Cooks. I love Jake Ferguson, Wisconsin boy. Big safety blanket for Dak Prescott for sure. The line's in flux. They lose the left tackle and center, so it will be the biggest issue on offense for them. But I think, Mike McCarthy will figure this stuff out. They should still be a very productive offense. The defense centered around Micah Parsons. His ability to get to the quarterback has been phenomenal. Adding Eric Kendricks, who was a top 5 linebacker for me in the NFL last season. Mike Zimmer coming in. Got a little bit smaller on the D-line, probably part of his plans. We'll see where they end up. The corners are going to be the make or break for the Cowboys, right? Trevon Diggs, Ron Bland. They're feast or famine players, right? They make a lot of big plays, a lot of interceptions, but they also give up some big plays and take a lot of chances. They could take a step back in both offense and defense this year. But I think they're going to be the first repeat champion in the NFC East since 2004. Eagles currently the favorites to win. They collapsed down the stretch last season, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Vic Fangio comes in from Miami to be closer to home. Jalen Hurts certainly looks like he can make things happen. I like Kellen Moore coming in as a new offensive coordinator. Certainly has experience working with a mobile quarterback like Dak in his younger days. And then the big ad, Saquon Barkley. So if he's able to get the running game going between Hurts and Barkley, which I certainly think they will, they're going to be in good shape to score a lot of points with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. O-line loses Jason Kelsey, which obviously is going to be a big thing to replace. But they've got one of the top tackle pairings in the league. That didn't change at all. So they're going to be solid on offense again. The defense was and still is the question for the Birds last season, who ended up with just a plus 5-point differential despite putting up 433 points. So Vic Fangio is going to have to get that fixed if they're going to improve and overtake the Cowboys. It's possible he does. But I think they lost a lot of production on that line in 2023. I think they took another step back, trading Hassan Reddick. They lost Fletcher Cox to retirement. Their linebacker core wasn't great. Devon White isn't that big of an addition in my book. The only improvement should be in the secondary where they drafted Quinion Marshall and Copper DeJean. They've got an easier schedule than the Cowboys. It could be the difference in winning the division. But again, I still lean on the Cowboys here. I think Mike McCarthy will get it done in the regular season. And I just don't trust the Philly defense. Obviously, Vic Fangio's got a huge name for himself and does a lot of great stuff. But I don't trust him to turn around that defense and get them into the promised land of the NFC East Championship. Washington Commanders made a whole bunch of changes with Dan Quinn coming in. Got a lot of different things going on. Jalen Daniels be the starter. Cliff Kingsbury is a great guy to have as your offensive coordinator and QB coach. He's going to do some good stuff with Daniels, I think. Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, solid options behind him, especially Eckler as a pass catching back. Going to give him a lot of security blanket type status. Tight end with Zach Ertz, same idea. I think Kingsbury knows how to use the tight end extremely well. The offensive line, however, was awful. Should be better with the signing of Nick Allegretti. I think that'll help him out a little bit. They didn't dish out a lot of long-term deals. They did get Bobby Wagner and Frankie Lavu, a couple of veteran linebackers. The defense should be better just by those guys coming in, leadership and skill. D-line strong on the inside. They don't have much defensive end, and I love the pick up the cornerback, Mike Sanders still. He'll start off the nickelback, should be good. but they're going to be bottom of the barrel in the division alongside the New York Football Giants, who paid Daniel Jones, which was the wrong thing to do. Nothing in my book in 2022 said that we should pay Daniel Jones. They had a fluky win-loss record. Now they're going to pay for it, and I think the front office on there is going to be on their way out along with the coach. Saquon Barkley getting replaced by Devin Singletary isn't awful. He's certainly a talented guy. They need the top pick, Malik Neighbors, to be elite for Jones to have a shot at any growth in the passing game, however, and I think he's already proven that there's no more growth to be had. 266 points scored in 2023 is miserable, and I don't think it's going to get any better in 2024. Little infighting on the defensive side of the ball. Wink Martindale is gone after fighting with Mr. Dable. Wink was always well-liked by his players everywhere he's been. They did make one big splash grab in Brian Burns, the aforementioned, on the defensive line. Their pass rush is actually decent with the front seven. Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence pushing up the middle. They do get to the quarterback fairly well, but they'll need to get pressure because the four in the secondary are certainly not good. Xavier McKinney's gone. They're going to have at least two rookies starting in the secondary. I don't see Daniel Jones and company making any headway up the standings this year, and it's just going to be miserable for New York Giants fans. I'm sorry. I don't know when they're going to cut the cord and pay the money to Mr. Jones, but I think we're going to be in trouble with that. My NFC East action, again, I'm taking the Cowboys here. Hopefully we got 9.5 wins. I think I'm going to take the over on that at minus 145 just for a half unit. I'm splitting up a 1 unit bet here. Half unit on the over 9.5 and a half unit on the plus 170 to win the NFC East. Those are my two best plays in the NFC East. We're going to be having some guests coming on here shortly, but I'm going to talk just a little bit about some horse racing while we're waiting for the next guest to come on. Let's take a look at the Travers coming up on Saturday at Saratoga. Some good stuff there. Some of the big horses that have been hammering it out against each other all summer long with the 3-year-olds are going to be back again, fighting it out in New York. As I pull up the race sheet here, we'll take a look. Obviously, the main horse for me and the one I've been on quite a bit, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pull the trigger yet again, is Sierra Leone. Will Sierra Leone be able to finally punch through and win a big race against some of the other groupings that he hasn't been able to take off yet? Fierceness has obviously been real solid, and Sierra Leone as a closing horse hasn't really performed well when he's had to come from way behind with some of these big starters. I think there's some issues there, maybe with their plan of attack, and I think they got to figure out a way to go after it a little bit earlier. I just don't see him coming back against these top horses. You've got Dornoch, Fierceness, and Torpedo Anna all in the race that are all going to get out a little bit quicker, and they're all good enough to hold off Sierra Leone. So at some point, Chad Brown's got to train strategy on the horse here and maybe bring him up into a little bit more of a stalking position rather than coming from all the way in the back. I think that may be the key for Sierra Leone. We'll see if they change out tactics. If they don't, I don't think he's going to catch in again. He's going to come in second or third and not be able to catch the best of the group coming out. I like Torpedo Anna in this one coming off the inside. I don't think she'll be in the lead right away. I think Dornoch and Fierceness are both going to rake out from the outside and try and get to that first spot ahead of her. But I don't think she's going to get pinned down on the rail too bad. She should be in second or third position coming around the first turn. And then we'll see what goes on after that. But I think, from what I've seen from her kicking down, obviously she hasn't lost in her last 4 and hasn't really faced this grouping either. So it'll be a change of pace for them, with Fierceness, Dornoch, and Sierra Leone having been battled out together. I'd look for Torpedo Anna to continue the role. That's going to be my top pick, the one horse in the Travers tomorrow. So look for Torpedo Anna in the 1 spot. I'm going to put Sierra Leone in the 2 with Fierceness, and then probably all in the under in a little trifecta bet. I think that's the way I'm going to look at it. I don't think Dornoch is going to get it done again. Last 2 races have been great. Got past Mindframe and Sierra Leone 2 times ago out, also at Saratoga at the Belmont. And the Haskell in the grade 1 also beat Mindframe yet again. So I'm gonna say Dornoch's gonna fall off here. Obviously, there were some performances earlier on the Kentucky Derby and the Bluegrass, where Sierra Leone was able to reel him in. I think they were going to do that again. So we got guests coming back in.
That's right. That's right.
Little horse racing, little NFL divisions, all ready to go. Going to pass it off here. Welcome back, Kiev.
Thank you very much. We have a wonderful guest from a podcast that's
been around for a long time now in this industry. Kramer is going to be coming on from Sports Gambling Podcast, and I'd love to hear some of his takes. Kramer is been sports betting for a very long time. He does all kinds of work at VSiN, and he's here to enjoy all the fun for the weekend. So, Kramer, welcome to the show. How the heck you doing, man?
Dude.
little
Doing great. Just got my entries in to the Circa Millions, Circa Survivor. I just hit a hand pay at the NFL slot machine. Just cashed $1,500. So I'm feeling good right now.
That's fantastic. 1,500 slot.
What slot was that?
It's the NFL slot machine. It's right over by Saginaw's at the Circa. It's part of my handicapping model. The Giants have been hot. The Raiders have been hot. It's been amazing. I know most people wouldn't use a slot machine for a handicapping model, but it's been good.
Yeah. It's funny.
That's
slot. Of course, it's an
NFL slot. Kramer's playing that right here down on the floor. Well, that is fantastic. But man, you were one of the early podcasts I was listening to. I remember driving up to Vegas. It was probably like 2014 or something, 15. I don't know. It was pretty dang early. And I was listening to you guys. I'm like, well, that's cool. I was like, it was just before I started the Oddsbreakers a couple of years. Maybe you were some of the reasons, but tell us a little bit about the Sports Gambling Podcast, man.
Yeah, like you were saying, we started before gambling and podcasting was a thing. 2011, Shawn Stacking the Money Green, we started recording a weekly show breaking down football. And the first year we just stopped in the off season, and then we kept growing from there. And it turns out people like NFL. They like hearing people pick games, and yeah, we kind of bring the funny, bring the entertainment, but also we picked every NFL game since 2011. So
that is wonderful.
I think you've placed pretty high in the Super Contest before, or at least one of them. So you are definitely not new to these things, are you?
No, so early Super Contest had some success, and then when they started raking those evil corporations, we came over to Millions. Haven't had a huge cash. Finished in the top 50 one year. Survivor got to Thanksgiving one week, but yeah, this is our year. This is our year.
This is our year, baby. That's all I feel too. This is our year. Well, man, there's a big overlay. It looks like we have 2,615 in Millions. I mean, dude, that just makes it easier on us. It makes it better on us because, more ways to win.
There's nothing better than when you come to the Circa, they present the overlay screen everywhere you can see. And it's just like, well, why wouldn't I enter? I'm getting this, I'm getting like a 1.5 to 1 on my money right now. And if you have the privilege to come out here, get a chance to hang out with Derek Stevens, one of the funniest things to do is sit with him at the bar and have a drink while they're still in overlay. He's sweating it like a bet. He's sweating it like you and I sweat out our Sunday card. So, I couldn't imagine, but we know they're going to get home. They get home every year. Still we got about $7.5 million to get home in both contests, but let's go.
Yeah. When I asked Derek a little earlier, I think I hit a bad note with him. I saw his face and I was like, oh man, he doesn't love giving away free money. He loves giving away free good times to you. That's what he does. But it's like, why the man does so much for you. Why shouldn't it get to 6 million? And that's kind of the other side of things. The greedy sports bettor in me makes it want to stop right now. And then obviously the person in me wants to help Derek out as much as you can. But you guys can come down here to Vegas. You still have over 2 weeks left to get in. You can get your red eye, whatever it is, and get in these contests. We got some great proxies here. Obviously, Vegas Mag's coming in a little bit past the top of the hour. But Kramer's excited. I'm excited. And the Sports Gambling Podcast is excited as well. Before you go, can you tell us a team in the NFL that's either underrated, you think, coming in, or overrated, or even both?
I'll start with overrated. I think it's the Falcons. I think this Atlanta Falcons team is filled with organizational just rot. From the ownership to the GM, we saw it during the draft situation, all the way down to the coaches. Raheem Morris, we know who he is. 4 wins, multiple seasons. Offensive and defensive coordinators have never called plays at the NFL level, and you have a whole bunch of guys who have never done it. But because Kirk Cousins is showing up, now we're there. I've actually taken a crazy long shot on the Falcons to have the most losses. Wow. 150 to 1. Again, Raheem Morris has done 4 wins before. We can get there. I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I think that things could slide pretty quickly here. So that's my overrated team. My underrated team, I am all about the Tennessee Titans this year. I love Callahan coming in, stealing his dad away from the Cleveland Browns. Will Levis, prove it year. They bring in all the tools. Calvin Ridley is in the Jamar Chase role. And the defense, there could be we need a little help there. But I'll give you a fun bet that isn't decent defense dependent. Will Levis at the Circa right now to lead the league in passing yards is 66 to 1. The pass rate over expectation of this team is expected to be near the tops of the league. The defense could be bad. If things work out, in Joe Burrow's first year in this offense in Cincinnati, he threw for 4,600 yards, which would have been just short of Tua's mark last year. So I love the Tennessee Titans to get it to be good this year and compete. Love that, but I love Will Levis to have a standout year more. We're going to cook with mayo this season.
Levis is your man. Well, he was in some really funny commercials lately. I think I'm not high on the Titans. I'm not going to lie, but I do like the case you made with the coach. And they did bring in some stud defenders, some stud corners and safeties, man. So you might have something there. It's funny. Beginning of the season, somebody starts liking something that's respected person, then it just kind of rolls down the hill, snowballs, right? Everyone starts getting on, and then all of a sudden, I like this team. I like this team. I like the Eagles this year. I'm hearing a lot about the Eagles and stuff, but I think it's the creative way of thinking, like you are, is where you make money betting, doesn't it?
It's the long shot stuff too. One of the things I fancy, like a strength of mine, is diving into these longer shot future markets that you see all this variance from when they open to when they close. I'll give you a great example. Jared Goff was going off at 60 to 1 in the MVP market as early as a couple months ago. And you look at the situation, well, number 1 seeds generally produce the MVP. The Lions are like a 7 to 1 1 seed price. So how is the disparity between the Jared Goff? So now what has happened? Jared Goff MVP is down to 20 to 1. Right. So we've seen those prices converge. Right. And I think in general, you can find a lot of value. For the NFL, a very sharp market, the futures market's still pretty inefficient in the offseason.
Kramer,
you're awesome. Where can people find your great information and media? Quick technical difficulty. Here we go.
Unmute.
Sports Gambling Podcast, anywhere you listen to a podcast, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. And check us out on VEASAN every Friday night live, 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific.
Make sure you check out Sports Gambling.
Because these guys are a ton of fun. We'll be talking soon, Kramer. Thanks a lot. We're going to go on break. We'll be back in 5 minutes with Mike Palm. If you're listening in podcast form, you can always fast forward it. We'll talk soon. All right, we are back. Just waiting on Mike Palm, but Shawn, we kind of left off somewhere. Talk a little AFC divisions. How that? So where you want to start? Uh-huh.
Vegas, defensive side of the ball. I don't think guard bench not like good enough to raise any playoff berth on that side of things. The Broncos, X looks fantastic against broad defenses in the preseason.
I mean, his odds had to drop to rookie of the year, I would think.
I would think he certainly did. The Broncos rookie of the year is going to be interesting for him, but I don't think the team's going to be good enough at all. The defense was a disaster. Justin Simmons is gone in the secondary. Pat Surtain can't cover everybody, so they're going to be a little bit rough, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm sorry, Russell Wilson wasn't great, but he still led them to 8 wins, even as garbage as he played in the first half of the season. I don't think Bo Nix is going to step in and get them to 8 wins in any way, shape, or form with that defense playing like it is.
I don't think so either. But he certainly did put up some yards. And if he can do that,
I mean, that's
what you're looking for is like a number on that. The problem is that everyone's in love with Caleb Williams, and I think there's going to be a lot of voters for him if he has a decent year. I think the Bears should get to 8 or 9 wins just based upon their schedule and the fact that Minnesota's down a little bit now, and they have the 4th place schedule. What can you say? They play the easier teams. It's just the way the NFL is. It kind of all corrects itself. So that's what we usually have to deal with. But it looks like our guest is almost here. So we're going to bring on Mike Palm here and talk a little bit of football. And we're going to talk a little bit of contest here. I'm sitting here probably going to go for another 30 minutes of this show with Mike and Vegas Matty and a couple other wonderful guests. We're going to be here at the Circa, so we come by and see us. We are
looking probably to get into at least one Survivor, one Circa Millions. I have to decide that yet, but we're really excited to have Mike on here, and here he is, Mike, sitting next to me.
Mike Palm, Vice President of Circa Sports. How you doing, Mike?
Great. Nice sitting with you at dinner last night.
Yeah.
Great couple hours at Bar Canada, and it rolls on today. This is one of the top 2 or 3 weekends of the year here. It's becoming. So
it's my top weekend. I like it better than them all. I'm sorry, the way you guys take care of us, the amount of hospitality, the excitement of just watching the numbers and the overlays. You still get a little college football. You get a little week 0. You got the NFL preseason, which I love about the preseason, all information based. Coaching motivations and things like that. But, I'm a big college football guy. How much do you watch college football, Mike? Are you mostly NFL? Or
No, I enjoy Saturdays more than Sunday. I think the NFL stuff.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you from a better perspective. and I like to bet, obviously. I think college football is more beatable to me, because there's more talent disparities. The NFL, these numbers are so sharp. It's the most liquid market in the world. How many times do you think an NFL line is off? There's the massive amount of money that goes into a market makes the line so very, very sharp. And totals even. I used to think, 10, 12 years ago, you could beat totals a little bit in the NFL. I don't even stick my toe in that water much anymore. We got two landmines coming up for Circa Sports tomorrow. I mean, we need Florida State. They bet. Wake all the way down. 11's a terrible landing spot, and then we can get middled in this SMU Nevada game too. If it lands 24, we lose all the money. But really interesting. I mean, we're just starting. We got 2. Two spots already.
That's a little bit on middling. He's not
so much. You brought that up. You think? I'm sure that it's a challenge and it's always worried about. But I have a prop idea for college football that I'd like to possibly ask to see if you think about it and bring it up. I believe in the Power 4 conferences that no team is going to go undefeated. Okay? So you look at Georgia. They're going to have a rougher schedule. You look at Ohio State. They still got to go Oregon. I feel that because there's 12 teams in the playoffs now, they're not going to feel that pressure to go undefeated, and there's going to be some letdown games. I feel that's going to change the landscaping of it, but who knows? I mean, usually you do get an undefeated team. I would think so. I've seen it many times in the last 4 or 5 years, whether it be Bama. I mean, and this is regular season. I'm not counting playoffs. I would wonder where you price that prop, and I would love to see.
You count the conference championship.
No, I don't.
Only
regular season, because some, I think that makes it more interesting. Because I don't want to do all of them, because I think Liberty's schedule's too easy. Boise State kind of too easy in a way. I feel if you can probably make it more juice to one side. But I would think of pricing out that prop, and I would be a customer.
I'm going to have our guys mull that over, and I'm going to ask them what the number would be on that market first before we consider hanging it. But two ways: one, only regular season; one, counting the conference championship games. Obviously, it's different. I'm just trying to think of who would be your biggest obstacle to the non-undefeated. That game's at Oregon. Ohio State at Oregon, so it's tough to say Ohio State because they have to go to outside.
They go to Penn State too. I mean, that's what. And Georgia goes to Ole Miss.
And they have to go to Texas, right? They go to Austin.
Yes, and Alabama. They might be going to Alabama too.
It's tough. It's an interesting prop.
Yeah.
The Big 12 is so deep. I think everybody in the Big 12 might have 2 losses, even though everybody's just put Utah in the playoffs. They're going to right. It's such a deep league. They're going to beat each other up. They probably will only get one bid because they're all going to have 2, 3, 4 losses. It's interesting. That's a great prop, actually.
Well, thank you.
Think about that.
Awesome. Maybe you can give me a little credit for it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna when we go to lunch, I'm gonna have Chris Bennett and the guys that make the college football numbers try to give them a few hours to price what they would hang that at.
Oh, dude, that would be so wonderful. Please let me know, and I will try to get as many bets down on that thing from all of our listeners and all of our friends here, because we're here all weekend, man. But we're talking about Circa. You guys just put on a wonderful show for us, man. What is it? What does this weekend mean to you as the vice president of Circa Sports?
Well, sitting here at the Galaxy Ballroom and seeing how this Radio Row is going. This is the 6th year of the Millions. The 6th year we've done contests. Circa opened in 2020, obviously, but really the 3rd year of trying to do a Radio Row. I mean, we've grown this thing from 6 or 7 to now over 50 when you consider all the radio stations and podcasts, right? So it's pretty amazing. It's like second to Super Bowl. Yeah. It's more than we get for March Madness. Yeah. It's pretty impressive. So that's fun, too.
Yeah.
To see same and new people, old friends and new friends every year. Last night was terrific. The Champions Dinner was a great idea by Derek a couple of years ago. And then hanging out at Barcan. I mean, we could stay there all night talking to people. Stadium swim day today. And we're going to do this blackjack shootout, new thing this year tonight. Then, of course, so anybody that put 3 or more entries in between 8 a.m. yesterday and 4 p.m. today gets a raffle ticket.
Okay.
We're going to take that. It's in the book right now. We're going to take that barrel up to High Limit Blackjack. Second floor here. At 5 o'clock, we're going to draw 5 until we get 5 people. Must be present. We're going to play a single table blackjack shootout. Everybody gets 5,000 chips. We'll play 21 hands. We'll count up your chips. The guy with the most chips gets a $3,000 Super Bowl future. And on down the line, second is $2,500, third's $1,500.
Wow! Super Bowl future.
And the guy that has the lowest chips still gets $1,000 Super Bowl future. So we're giving away 10,000 in Super Bowl futures to our contest players this weekend. And then, of course, tomorrow's my baby, the panel. I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited for the panel.
Me too.
Jamie Pelleggi that works for Circa Sports, he's going to be the breakout star. He's a good-looking young kid from Pennsylvania, does all our props in the NFL. Jeff Erickson from RotoWire. So it has a fantasy tilt to it, a prop tilt. Yep. Both those guys specialize in that.
I love that.
Frank Schwab's terrific from Yahoo Sports, the senior NFL writer. And then we got Willis McGahee. Doctor cleared him. No ACL issues. He's going to be out.
No ACL.
I want to know how he holds his head high knowing he was a product of the Tim Tebow offense. He was the recipient of busting balls a little bit.
He certainly was. Right? Oh. Man, let's see if he's honest. He's honest with his thoughts tomorrow. No, that panel's going to be awesome from 1 to 3, and I'm very excited for it. I always love coming up with good questions. Try to stump these guys. That's what I try to do. So that's going to be wonderful, man. Quick want to bring up how well Circa does, or how they treat their patrons, their guests, clients. I see how sports books around the nation are kind of like, well, this state's taxing me too high, I'm going to add a little extra juice, or we're going to take some off the net winnings. What do you think about those tactics? And is it more of a frown on the industry?
What the problem is the outrageous tax rates. Let's start off there because number one, you're competing with these offshore bookmakers that don't have to pay an excise tax. If you come here today and you put a bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, let's say you bet $40,000 on the Chiefs. Every month, including August and including February, until that bet's decided, all regulated bookmakers have to pay 0.25% of what you bet to the federal government in the sports excise tax. Offshore doesn't have to pay that, right?
Right. They don't.
Now the state wants to tax. I used to think 15 was pushing it when we went into Illinois, but I mean, they're at 50% in New York, 40% in Tennessee. I mean, I saw New Jersey's coming online and they proposed a 10% tax. That's reasonable. That's business friendly. But people are resorting to things. If you're booking baseball and you have that's another 0.25% of your baseball right goes to Major League Baseball to sponsor it at Major League Baseball. I mean, there's so many taxes that go on top of our model, which is low hold anyhow, right? Giving you the best odds. It's really tough. So, I mean, obviously DraftKings backed off from their surcharge in those high tax states. I think when FanDuel said they weren't going to do it, they saw the light. But I get it. I get what they're talking about, and they have a model where they're holding 4 times what we hold. Right. So we have to be very particular about where we end up in states just because of that. The cost of doing business in certain states, we couldn't win.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Bad for business. It's not taxing gasoline, guys. It's not taxing cigarettes. It's not alcohol tax. It doesn't work like that. It's how ignorant some of these politicians are to make rules on something that is literally has a set rate and only a big effect. It's like, yes, let's make sports betting legal, but let's tax it so it's unfeasible so nobody freaking does it. That drives me nuts. I'm very passionate about that, as you can see. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Circa and the contest here. What makes them unique to other contests, and where do you see the future of it?
I think the guarantees is what started it off as making. Derek put up his money, and we're going to be short in the millions again this year. He's going to have to kick in somewhere between 750,000 and $1 million to get to the guarantee. So we'll blow through Survivor again. We were the first ones not to take a rate, 100% payback, right? And I think that attracted us and got our name into the market 6 years ago when we started doing it. I know nobody thought that we could overtake the Westgate in 2 years, and it happened. I thought it would be 3 or 4 years, but Vinny Mayulo from South Point and my partner Amal Shaw both said in year 2, Mike, the format of your contest and how much Derek promotes it and markets it, it will, and it's continued to grow. I think it's terrific. If you're going to invest a couple $1,000s into the NFL during the course of the year, why won't you take a trip to Vegas and do it in a contest where you have a shot to become a millionaire?
Why not?
Right? I'm gonna spend $50 a week, $100 a week. Okay. Put it in a contest. The millions, you get action the whole year long. Now you might be out in week 1 in Survivor, or you might pick up 4 million, 8 million, 12 million, right? It's more of a lottery, but it's a hell of a lot of fun along the way.
And every week your ticket becomes more valuable.
That's right.
Implied value keeps going. People start getting an implied value of 100,000 or more. Now you monetize.
Yes. You can sell a piece of it. Someone's going to go in. They're going to want some say, but there's also valuation companies that can actually value it correctly.
So they value it based on what teams you have left. Teams you've used, what the other opponents have.
Right.
It's become an industry upon itself, the secondary market in Survivor. But there's so many different ways to attack it. But the cleanest way is actually selling a piece of it. That's the cleanest way.
That is.
Yeah, I agree. That's wonderful. Well, man, last question. How are the contest winners treated at the Circa? And what kind of, if I'm coming to visit Circa, I'm a person, and I place highly in the contest or I win, what can I expect in the future of the Circa?
Yeah, we have a big wild card weekend. We have a big ceremony over at the D where everybody gets their ceremonial check. We celebrate, and then you get your cash as well. And then you become part of our family, right? You become a part of it. We talked about the winner champions dinner last night. Everybody in the top 10 in the millions, everybody that made it to the end of Survivor, and you actually become part of the family.
That is awesome. And I talked to Derek about that too. Man, that's the best part of it. That's how you guys treat people. Is absolutely family. Mike, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you breaking it down. And we'll be seeing
Enjoyed last night. Enjoy the rest of the week.
I absolutely will. All right, my friends. That was Mike Paul. Make sure you follow him, and he is the vice president at Circa Sports. So Vegas Matty is coming up next, and he is ready to roll. I'm guessing got stuck in traffic. That's okay. I think everybody's getting stuck in traffic when it comes to driving in Vegas. Yeah, for some reason they wanted to start all the construction just immediately and not do it a little at a time. So I think that's what we all do with Matty. Thanks for coming back on, my friend.
Of course.
How the heck you doing?
Good. So I signed up Musburger with the Westgate.
Oh, you had to sign Musburger. Okay. Musburger.
Sorry. Yeah, and then I just did a hit at the Sports, my hometown radio station. So I'm trying to pack as much stuff in as I can right now.
Oh, I
appreciate you having me on.
Oh, dude, I appreciate you being back. You know, I love football contests and how you guys treat people over there. You guys give drink tickets away. You guys give hats and paraphernalia away. You guys
swim if you want to get in there. Come see us, right?
Stadium swim. You can get in that many places.
Yep.
And my has it grown. It really has grown. But that's really cool that you just signed up names like that. You signed up a lot of big names, big people, former players that want to get in these contests. Tell us a little bit more about football contests and how you can bring fun to everybody around the world.
Well, yeah, just in the participation and trying to take the stress out of it. Like it's kind of an interesting proposition. I'm sure like starting trying to find out about the football contest and who you're going to trust. And there's a lot of proxies in the game now, and some of them haven't been doing it as long as we have. Most of them, I should say, almost all of them. So it's our 16th year. We've got a reputation for just trying to provide the best service possible. We're available pretty much 24/7. That our support, if you can't get your picks in, you're having issues, we'll help you out. We try to stay pretty strict to our deadlines, but everyone's got issues that happen. I'm a couple minutes late here, how that goes. So there is a human element to all this, and you want to be able to have someone you can trust to put your picks in, and that's what we do at footballcontest.com. That's why we've been the best in the game.
What year started?
2009. Yeah. So with the Super Contest way back then, the Super Contest I think was 328 entries back then. So that goes to show how far things have gone. And today I think they were up in the 550 range. So they've already got more than that this year. I know it's still a drop in the bucket compared to Circa, but they still have a very good contest there as well.
Oh, absolutely, man.
It's 2009. Who are you going to trust? The guy that started last year, the guy that started 3 years ago, or the guy that started in 2009? I think
it makes an easy choice, I would think. But reach out to us at footballcontest.com, and we will try to hold your hand throughout the whole process, get you signed up. Tony's downstairs right now at the Circa Sportsbook in booth 5, trying to get people signed up. And 3 o'clock, I'll be there from 9 to 3 tomorrow, before I have a fantasy football draft tomorrow night. So it's crazy time here. And our hours are just increasing as it seems like the days go on. So you still got a couple of weeks to get out here. So if you haven't made your travel plans yet, book it today. Reach out to us. You'll find out when we're available. And hopefully we can hook up.
Hopefully you can hook up. There's an overlay, my man. There's a reason to come down here and sign up and have some fun. Why don't you talk about this overlay this year and how exciting that is for sports bettors, although it's a little bit tougher for the people guaranteed.
Right. So the Circa Survivor, don't worry about that one. They're a little under 6,000 entries right now in that contest. They're going to hit the 10 million, which is 10,000 entries. Don't worry about it. They'll be 6,000 probably by the end of the day. And then who knows, maybe even 7,000 before the end of the weekend. So I expect that to be 11, 12,000 when all is said and done. You do the math on that, that's $11-12 million. Compared to the million, that's where they really needed some support from people. That's the Pick 5 contest where you pick 5 games against the spread. They're going to be, probably double what they got right now. Hopefully get a little closer to that 6,000 that they need to guarantee the 6 million. Well, the 6 million is guaranteed, so don't worry about that.
Yes.
Derek has put that money up. Last year, I think the overlay was about 700,000. This year, it might be closer to 5, maybe less for Derek's sake, but we'll see what happens. A lot of people come in these last 2 weeks to sign up.
Yeah, a lot of people come in these last few weeks. Well, if I was wanting to reach out to you, maybe I'm living in Pennsylvania, wherever. Do I do it by phone or do I do it by email?
How do I do that?
Yeah, you can either or. I mean, I'm not going to give out my digits on the air here, but I mean, you go to footballcontest.com. You can reach out to us, and then a lot of people, they have questions. We'll answer as many as we can over email. But then again, if you want someone to talk to, we're fine giving you the number to call, and we'll answer those questions for you. Hopefully make you feel a little more at ease about signing up, because it is a big investment, especially those guys who want to put the 10 G's down on the 10 survivors. I mean, they want to be able to trust somebody who's going to be able to put them in and not lose sleep over it. And that's us.
Yes.
We're there for you.
Yeah, make sure you do that, guys. Reach out to Matty, reach out to Tony. Come on out, get a red eye, whatever it takes. This is the best weekend in Vegas.
Yeah.
You got to start coming. And we're just going to party. So if you're local in Vegas and you can't, obviously you're not going to fly in now. If you're local in Vegas, I'm going to be here. Manny's going to be here. We're just going to go to the stadium. We're going to Stadium Swim. That's what I'm trying to say without stuttering. And we're going to probably go there in about an hour. After we get some lunch, we're going to hang out, get some sun, drink some brews, and enjoy the weekend. So everybody, thank you so much for listening to the show. I really appreciate all you guys out there.
Footballcontest.com. Go there.
Go to footballcontest.com and come to the Circa and party with us. We'll be talking soon. Thank you.